All right, we're live.
All right, should we get started? Luis, are you ready? All right. Hello, everybody. This is Kevin. So welcome to our Q2 town hall. So for this town hall, it's going to be a little bit different. So we're not going to talk so much about roadmap and core infrastructure development because our infrastructure is mostly ready. So we're actually seeing a good pipeline of projects and people are building on levels. So for this town hall, we have invited 3 teams to present their products, and we're gonna have a brief Q&A afterwards. All the 3 projects are in the NFT space, which is very, very exciting. We're actually seeing a lot more coming up in this direction. But without further ado, let's get started. And the first project it's going to present is from Norinda Labs, and we'll have Cypher presenting. Cypher, you here?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. This is Cypher. Yeah, I will start my presentation. Wait a second. Yeah. You guys see my screen? Yeah. Okay, I will start. Everyone, my name is Cypher. I am the founder and the CEO of Norinda Labs. Before I start, I want to give you guys some background of my company. Norinda Labs is started at early this year. Before that, I was a chief product operator of Cryptip and the chief product manager of Blockchain Research Institute of China Banknote Printing and Minting Corporation. And the Norinda Labs, this company is focused. We are going to focus on NOAS mass adoption. The name Norinda means NOAS plus China. It's very straightforward because we have our most business resources in China, and we have almost the most largest population here. And this team, the Norinda Labs, also maintain Neuron Wallet and the CKB Explorer for the foundation. So this is our background. And the Golden Legend platform is an NFT platform. It follows the multi-purpose NFT protocol, as known as MNFT. The source code and the protocol is open source. And this platform have 3 main components, including issues part, jinse.cc, you could visit it now, and wallet part for the clients, the meball.net, and we have open APIs, it's RESTful. And the launch date is last month, 17th this year. And for until now, we have up to 600 artists and more than 3,000 NFTs on our platform. So as we know that there have already been lots of NFT platforms, including OpenSea, Rarible, and Nifty, and lots of marketplace. So why we build another one on NOAS? Why? What makes it different? So I think the key is we are targeting totally the different users. We are targeting the non-crypto users. They don't have MetaMask. They don't know, or they don't want to pay for transaction fee, and they don't have access to cryptocurrency. Like the typical user group is the classic internet users or Chinese users. compared with crypto users, the classic internet users it's very huge number, like billions of them. But crypto users, especially the DApp users or NFT users, I believe they are less than 1 million, right? So if we could convert even 1% internet users to our blockchain platform or our NFT platform, we have a huge number of users. So that's our strategy. And why we could do this? Because we could provide classic internet user experience for them. They don't need to download or use VPN or use OTC to get access to the crypto world. So that's a key. Okay, let's do some demonstration. First of all, let's go to meeball.net to set up our account. And you could take out your phone and visit this this URL to start your own. We have two main tabs here: Explore page and My page. This page is optimized for mobile users, so this is desktop, is a bit stranger. Okay, we have different categories, all art and others like photograph. All these are different NFTs created by the community users. And you could click here, My, and this will visit your own account. We have two choices here. One is connected to Uniparse. Uniparse is a very user-friendly key manager. It uses your email address and password to access your private key. But don't worry, it's not centralized custody. Your assets is totally kept by yourself. It's a bit complex to explain the backend algorithm. I think I will leave this to the Uniparse team. Here I could input my PIN code, and then my own NFTs will list here. Yes. And I could transfer it to another CKB address. And also, and here you could get the QR code and with your CKB address to receive NFTs. The transfer of the NFT here is free. You needn't to pay any CKBATs or any other kinds of currency, because every NFT have its own transaction fee wrapped in the UTXOs, in the CKB cells. Let's log out, and again, we could connect with the Ethereum environment. If I click here, I don't know whether you guys could see this window. The MetaMask window will pop up and ask me to connect with MetaMask. Here, after I connect with MetaMask, this is my Meeball account with MetaMask as its key manager, and also I have the QR code, the CKB address to receive my NFTs. Let's copy it for later use. Okay, let's turn to the Golden Legend platform. The URL is jinse.cc. You can try it yourself. And here, you could design NFTs. Oh, first login. Could design your NFTs. You could select a picture and enter the title and the description. Set the limited or unlimited information. For example, limited term. And then you set the category, and then you could mint some NFTs immediately now. And I will go back to my already existed NFTs. This is my my friend proof. I'd like to send this to my friends. So let's directly distribute this to the address I copied before. And you could add more addresses here or import some bench addresses by CSV file. Okay, let's create and distribute. Okay, it's done. And here you could get the transferring NFTs immediately in the meatball.net. But it hasn't on-chain because so that you cannot transfer now. And you need about 2 blocks or 3 blocks to receive your NFTs. After that, you could transfer to others. So okay, this is a demonstration. Let's back to the presentation. Okay, why we choose NovaCKB? Remember that the mission of this company is to do mass user adoption. And we believe that NovaCKB is the only blockchain that may achieve mass adoption because, first, it's compatible with all chain step environments. Like you have seen before, I could connect my account with MetaMask with Ethereum account. It's pretty strange because they are totally different chains. I won't explain more about the back-end technology. It's kind of complex to the users. But the only thing we know that we could use all chain step environments. That's very important, which means we could convert other chains users to the NovaCKB users. We could convert the whole crypto world to NovaCKB. And secondly, it is compatible with existing crypto infrastructures. Actually, the crypto infrastructures before blockchain had been existed for maybe 20 or 13 years or even more long. The HTTPS, the DNSSEC, the email transfer protocol with the BKIM and your UKey, all of these are existed crypto infrastructures, and the NovaCKB could use them and to convert the average people to the Nova's world. And another important thing is UTXO mode. Its model is very user-friendly for NFT usage. Frankly speaking, UTXO model is not very easy for the developer because it's very complex to maintain the global states. But however, it's very user-friendly for NFT usages because every NFT contains its own states and contains its own transaction fee prepaid for the later use. So for the end users, they don't have to pay transaction fee. It's very important. And for the issuers, they don't have to pay smart contract deployment fee because on NovaCKB, you just deploy a smart contract, and everyone uses smart contract as a pointer. And other NFTs or other users just use this code instance. You don't share states with others. You use your state here in your UTXOs. So it's very user friendly. That's why we could may achieve mass adoption by NFT usage. And our future plans, we have several plans here. First, we will launch the NFT store, a marketplace in 1 month. It's for the primary market, for the artist, the musician sell their NFTs directly to their fans, to the community, and we will start create a promotion campaign in July in the next month. we will help 100 at least 100 influencers to issue their NFTs in China, and this will cover I think more than 100,000 users, their fans. And we will launch an international version in Q3. As you may notice, the Jinse.cc, the Meibao.net is optimized for Chinese people, for Chinese local market, because we have the most biggest resources here, and we have to do some regulation trade-off in Chinese market. So this current version is something like especially for Chinese markets. But also the international users could also use Jinse.cc to mint their NFTs, but it's difficult for them. We will launch an international version in Q3 for more users with another branding, maybe with another website name and another wallet name. And also we are planning more community features for the NFT holders. With the specific NFTs, the holders could view or open secret portal to their rights or or special websites. And the NFT holders may join some community DAO to decide the things that related to the whole community. We will develop more features like this. So that's our plans in Q3. But we don't plan more for Q4 or next year. We will get more feedback. We will do more plans before we get more feedbacks. Okay, that's all. Kevin?
Yeah, thank you, Zephyr. And okay, so we're gonna have the three projects all presenting, and after that we'll have some Q&A time. And I know folks in the community have asked a bunch of questions, but we'll do that after we have all the three presenters. Okay, so next coming up is the DAS project, and then we'll have that from Jane. Go ahead, Jane.
Hello, everyone. This is Jane, and hello from China. I'm going to share my screen. Today, I'm very happy to present DAS, decentralized account system. So I'm a part of the DAS community, and I'm also an early user of this product. The team behind DAS, they previously have also built ABC Wallet, which is a quite popular wallet, and they work at Tencent prior to crypto. So DAS is currently on its public beta, and this will launch for a month. Welcome everyone to try it. So talking about decentralized account, the first question you may have is, why do I need, or why do I want a decentralized account? That's mainly because centralized account we are using today, such as social accounts, cell phone numbers, email, they have some really big problems. So first, they don't really belong to you, but belong to a central organization who could shut down your account, and you are given this reason, you are constantly facing censorships. Like many countries, like they require you to using your real name, your identity card, to be able to use cell phone. And what is a decentralized account? look like today for most of the people, especially for new crypto users. There are different crypto addresses on different blockchains. What if we can use a unified account and with .bit and start with anything, your name, or even an emoji? So if this makes you think of ENS, yeah, we really appreciate ENS. It's as pioneer and kind of already proven the market potential and user demand for a decentralized account. Basically, like it accomplished this much within 2 years. But you may ask, like, hey, what's the difference? Why we need DAS when we already have ENS? So DAS, it runs on CKB, but it is not a CKB-specific domain name or DID system, and users of any public chain can use it directly. This is something that ENS and other similar products cannot do. DAS is also highly compatible. Users do not need to have a CKB wallet installed in advance. They don't need to have a CKB address, and they don't need to pay in CKB for using it. Any public chain can use DAS without any modification, which is the best feature of DAS. And secondly, DAS is not just a domain name system. DAS is an account system, and domain name is just one of the usage scenarios. We can understand that DAS is as important to the crypto world as email is to the internet world. I would say, for this reason, ENS is positioned as Ethereum domain name system, while DAS is positioned as a decentralized account system. And the different positioning determines which aspects, the two projects they are thinking about. So here are the features of DAS. And I would say the most awesome part is it's compatible with all public blockchains. So the next question would be what DAS can be used for. It can be used for many things as people are using email today. So it can be firstly used as a unified crypto receiving account and as access portal to dApps or as a portal for personal homepage or business website. It can also be used as account system as a better and end-to-end encrypt communication tool, and also credentials for password-free access to internet services. Or it can even be used as a practical status symbol that Exchange could assign to its users. And before we get into the part about our future plans, I wanted to emphasize why Novus is the right infrastructure for DAS. That's because the DAS itself is, it can be regarded as an NFT asset that can be held by any public blockchain address. Say, for example, you can transfer Alice.bit to someone else's BTC address, who in turn can transfer it to someone else's ETH or TRX address. This is currently not possible with any other blockchain domain name system, but can only be, achievable on CKB. That's because CKB has a very open architecture and supports custom cryptographic primitives. We can simply deploy the signature verification algorithm of any other public chain to CKB, and then call the corresponding algorithm to complete the signature verification in the transaction to transfer DAS between any public blockchain address. And talking about our future plan, so the project So the project started in the beginning of this year, and we have launched our public beta last week. And just in 3 days, like we have over 7,000 registered accounts and 19 over 1,900 independent addresses. And the plan is to launch on mainnet in Q3 this year and to start to integration with wallets. And then have on-chain secondary market and open source in Q4 this year. Here is the social channels, and we are now in our beta launch. So go to our website to try this product, and we appreciate any feedbacks you may have for this product, and this will help us to further improve it. Meanwhile, the DS team is hiring for overseas marketing partner. So if you are interested, you could email team at da.services. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jane. Okay, the last project presenting is going to be the IAMM team, and we'll have Tanner presenting. Tanner?
Hey, thanks. Can you hear me all right, first of all?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, so thanks, everyone. My name is Tanner Allard. I'm a co-creator of the IAMM network. And today, yeah, just going to talk a little bit about how we're seeing NFTs and how we think of them and how we might do it differently, knowing what we know now. So start off by talking about our view of NFTs today, kind of just evaluating the landscape. And we believe that NFTs today, what we've noticed, are pretty limited in what they can do. And really, the question for someone who wants to get into NFTs is to mint or not to mint, because NFTs, you can't really do much else with them. If you want to actually do something with them, right? You can trade, you can hold them, or you can mint, right? And it's very different from, I remember I was at an NFT conference a few years ago, and there's a lot of optimism and idealism, like thinking about the potential of NFTs as the blockchain equivalent of true scarce goods, the same way that fungible tokens are the blockchain equivalent of currency. It seems like we've, while NFTs have hit the limelight a lot, there's not a lot of additional capabilities so far. And even if it is what you want to do is to mint, you have to answer questions like what kind of NFT you want, what type of NFT. Maybe you want fractional NFTs. What if you want to combine NFT with DeFi in some way, add additional economic policies to it? What if you want to customize its data structures, right? And basically, you're at the mercy here of what kinds of NFT building platforms and like no-code platforms currently exist, right? And as you think about more and more advanced features, it becomes harder and harder for someone to play with and be creative with their NFTs, right? And then you might think about, what if you want to create something entirely new, right? A new class of tokens, so to speak. And if this is what you want to do, you have to encounter the cost of innovation, because we have all of these token standards, right? And these token standards are there to enable interoperability by providing some sort of base implementation expectations, right? But it's really just pseudo interoperability, because in an NFT that complies to the base standard, all you can do is tweak some data values, right? A lot of people, the creative activity actually is mostly relegated to the off-chain thing that is stored as a link inside the NFT on-chain, right? And adding new functionality, perhaps something, a new way to represent ownership of NFTs, right? Shares, weighted fractions, perhaps. All of these things, you have to add custom functions. And when you do that, yes, you can interoperate with other systems, but those systems will understand the custom functionality in the additional semantics of your token that actually makes it cool and interesting compared to others, right? And then composability is also severely limited today. Composing assets across systems requires a lot of work, and entirely new standards and platforms have been released and launched just to enable things like putting a hat on your CryptoKitty, right? And that's indicates a lack of flexibility at a more foundational level. And of course, with the proliferation of standards, there is a separate standard for NFT composability as well. And I think everyone's familiar with this comic. Basically, someone tries to create a standard that covers all these various use cases, and it just becomes yet another standard, right? And that's kind of the problem we're in right now. And if you want to token, if you want to be creative about it, like I said, you can find the right tool that supports your specific combination of features, right? Some sort of no-code NFT builder, or you can become a smart contracts engineer real quick, or you can pay a professional, maybe turn your idea into a startup, get some funding, and a year from now you can put a hat on your CryptoKitty, right? And so we're thinking about these difficulties with expressibility and flexibility, and how those abstract concepts actually affect the experience of using and building NFTs, right? And if we could rebuild NFTs from scratch, we can think about what we do differently then. And the Nervos concept of all of these various tokens as first-class citizens, or the term first-class assets is also used, is pretty powerful here, because smart contracts on many other chains implement various types of tokens through a set of callable functions, right? And you only interact with these tokens through the API provided by that contract interface. CKB basically does the opposite. It inverts this model, where instead of where you have data that carries around the code that enforces its state transition rules, as opposed to on other blockchains, you interact with code that operates on data on your behalf. And this is more in line with what we think of as NFTs as true decentralized digital goods, right? You can operate on them directly, and it actually offers a lot of powerful new means to design NFTs from the ground up. And one thing that we would do differently, taking advantage of this cell model, this smart data rather than smart contracts operating on dumb data, right? The first thing is properties over interfaces. Interfaces like a set of function signatures, they can provide a little bit of interoperability, because at least with the Solidity compiler, for example, you can generate an ABI from the contract automatically, and off-chain services can use that to understand which functions can be called. But it doesn't really tell you what that function does. You could have a function called transfer and internally it might just be code that burns the tokens, right? And so it's actually difficult for all types of third parties as well as other on-chain systems to interact with other tokens. And if we think about properties instead of interfaces, we get this sort of self-declaring, self-typed, and self-enforcing smart data structure. And these could be truly first-class citizens of the Web3, right? And we're using smart data over smart applications, so there's never going to, so that separation, that basically replication of the client-server model isn't getting in the way anymore. And it allows for things like safe upgradability and evolvable dynamic digital assets without the sort of counterparty risk or malformed state changes that can occur, right? And this also enables more composability and true composability. Because if you have the data structures front and center, if you have the digital assets as the first-class citizen, rather than code that operates on them as first-class citizens, you can operate on that data structure in ways that aren't predefined, right? And so the developer who decided to write the code that defines the NFT doesn't define upfront everything you can do with that NFT once you own it. And with this new paradigm, it's really cool to think about what could be possible, because CKB especially treats basically code and data are exactly the same thing. They're stored in the exact same place even. We could have NFTs combining with each other and NFTs that operate on others. And perhaps we could do things like create entire policies or token economic policies as components or attributes of NFTs. And that's kind of what we think about when we think about the difference between the ideal of NFTs as these truly decentralized digital goods, independent of some particular registry, right? And the difference between that and how they are today. And just to give an example of how we're exploring these ideas, is I here have basically a screenshot of a clone of the CKB Tools web app that was built by another developer at Nervos, Jordan Mack. And I basically I downloaded the code and I added a minting interface for NFTs here. And we can see this hinting at this declarative nature, because in the define NFT schema field, the top row is defining a list of various attributes on this new NFT that I'm declaring, right? And then this bottom row is defining the types of those attributes. And then if you go to NFT values, if you look there, you see these are the actual values being used. So this NFT has a DNA, it has a rendering engine, a cost, and a name, right? And we go down one more and we see defining rules. Rules are basically properties that are checked for satisfiability when a state change occurs. So you can see I'm defining a rule here called generate new plans. And this is a simple property. This is simple properties based on, actually inspired by TLA Plus, but with additional convenience and a bit more of a convenient terse syntax. But this property basically says that someone can generate a new plant. This is a plant, wonderful CKB plant, is the name of this one. Someone can generate a new plant if they pay the amount. See, I reference amount here. So you can access in these properties the custom data types defined in your NFT. They can mint a new plant if they pay me 1,000 CK bytes, and if their DNA follows the simple breeding algorithm, which is basically, it's just the hash of this NFT's ID and the new ID of the new breeded plant, right? And the interesting thing about this is that the thesis is, with this, you don't need sophisticated dApps that include core business logic and semantics about how to understand and interact with an NFT. The interactions, basically the transaction generation and the semantics of the custom NFT can be automatically computed off-chain as well. And so this is what that particular NFT looks like using our rendering engine that will use additional code that you add in if you use the render engine attribute flag. And it's a bit rough right now, doesn't necessarily display everything beautifully, but you get the idea, because you can see it automatically shows here the properties, cost, DNA, as well as provides a button to initiate any of the basically actions or operations, which are again just rules and their properties. And basically the library, the SDK, will read that property and generate a transaction that satisfies it using heuristics and other things, but it's basically a constraint satisfaction problem. Anyway, that's so that's the problem. That's what we are kind of working towards, and a teaser at what we've been able to do so far in terms of experimentation. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Tanner. Okay, so now let's open up the stage, and we can take some questions. Oh, actually, we already have questions. I'm just going to read from what we have seen. Okay, so the first question is for Cypher. Outside of art, do you foresee Norinda working any further NFT applications, for example, property, music, etc.?
Yeah, sure. Actually, we have our BD resources here in China. We talked with many companies and influencers to issue their own NFTs. But it's very, NFT is very new to most of the people. So we have to take a big time to convince them. But we have worked with some teams, including a music team, to bring music and songs to CKB to Golden Legend platform. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The next question is also for you. Can you tell us more about Unipass?
Unipass is not our product. It's contributed by Lay 2 team. I think maybe next time they could share their experience here. But the Unipass is an email-based key manager. The private key is stored in your web browser. It uses a specific algorithm that's supported natively by most of your web browser. It's a part of W3C standard, but it's not supported by other blockchains, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. But as you may know, NovaCKB is using abstract script as its own address. So NovaCKB could use this algorithm to help the user to access their private key more easily and with the same security level. So Unipass basically work as a MetaMask, but more user friendly. Yeah.
All right. So next one is can you talk about your plan to support popular marketplaces like OpenSea, etc., Cypher?
Basically, OpenSea is built on Ethereum. It supports Ethereum ERC 721 standard and other standards. Norinda Labs, the Golden Legend is using another protocol. It's different from that protocol. But maybe we could talk with OpenSea and other famous platform to ask them to support us, and they have to connect with Nova's CKB to parse the data to do the transactions. And another way is we build some bridge to bridge Nova CKB NFTs to Ethereum. It's much easier for them to connect with NFTs, but it brings a very big problem, that the transaction fee problem. The bridging, you have to pay a lot of gas fee for the transaction, and on Ethereum you have Ethereum transaction fees for the users, and this is different from our positioning, because we are targeting the original people, the average people. They don't even have crypto account. They don't have the access to cryptocurrency. So maybe OpenSea could support us after we have built a very big community. But I think we as alone could have enough users, enough crypto assets to build a bigger market than OpenSea in maybe 1 year. I believe we have more potentially users, much more potential users than OpenSea. So we don't very eager to connect with OpenSea.
Yeah, I just want to comment here a little bit too. So to say that you know, like for a specific product like Norinda Labs or dApps or NFTs on Nervos were to support OpenSea, it's basically asking a developer to support Binance, right? So OpenSea is a NFT marketplace, just like Binance is a marketplace for fungible tokens. So OpenSea has planned to be cross-platform, right? So it's not that we want to support them, but it's just, you know, it's on their roadmap, and then when we have traction, and then they'll come support the NFTs on their road. So there's no, you know, there's nothing fundamentally that they can't support. It's just whether we have the volume and the users, like what Cypher said. Yeah, I mean, if we have, you know, if I think our advantage is, you know, we can bring massive amount of users. And if we really have the NFTs and you know, buyers and sellers, you know, I don't see OpenSea that won't be supporting this. Yeah. So there's fundamentally, it's not a segregated, from OpenSea's perspective, it's not a different, it's a different chain, but doesn't mean it's not a different use case. It's just like a Binance will sit on, you know, I don't know how many ever chains.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So the next question is, yeah, so it's first Cypher for you again. Would like to ask, when can we start purchasing energy points for Golden Legend with other payment channels outside of China?
Yeah, it's pretty weird that Chinese users could pay WeChat Pay to pay to buy the energy points. The energy points is a points used to mint NFTs on Golden Legend. 1 point for 1 NFT. But we don't provide payment for international users because because of the regulation concerns. And but now you could send the email. We have left an email address for the international users to buy energy points with CK Bets, and you could send your email your requirements to our email address, and we will return a reply with the payment method. It's a it's a manual operation, but it works. And I think in Q3 we will provide a much more easier way to help the international users to use the platform.
Okay, great, thank you. Can we transfer energy in future between users?
No. It's
okay.
It's a website part. It's not some token.
Okay. I guess the next question you already answered. When can an international user buy energy points directly from the website? Which is, you know, right now you can't, but you know, we're looking to be able to support that in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so next batch of questions for DAS.
Yes.
This is for Jane. So the first question is, when does DAS go to mainnet?
So for now, we are doing our public beta, and this will last for a month. And then we'll like do improvement based on the feedbacks. And then we are actually, we are having a campaign around this public beta that, if you join here providing feedbacks or invite your friends, you will have a chance to win a limited edition NFT that's minted on Golden Legend, as well as you will have the chance to write data into DAS Genesis block when we are going to deploy it on mainnet. So mainnet is expecting in Q3. We want to be kind of conservative, and then we want you to do some wallet integration before launch to mainnet, so that we can have a better adoption or once kickoff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Next one, do you imagine secondary markets happening with .bits?
Central market. Do you mean
secondary market with people can sell and buy the
DNS
yes NFT?
Yes,
domain names.
Yes, of course. We are actually trying to build a secondary market by ourselves. It will be inserted on our current product. So this is also kind of expected in Q3 or Q4.
Okay, that's great. What are the character limits of .bit? What's the minimum number of characters and maximum number of characters?
So for now, it's only open to characters, like 5 bytes, and we're still planning on that, how we make it a fair launch, when launching on mainnet. So it might come in batch, say like we are open 2 characters for a certain period of time, and then 3 characters or 4 characters.
Okay.
Yeah. So this part is still TBC.
Yeah, but what about is there a technical limit? Like it has to be, I guess the character limit, it has to be 1 character, right? That's the minimum. What's the maximum? Can I have a domain name that's 1,000 characters? Is it possible?
I would say yes, it's possible, but this might occupy more storage fee.
Yeah.
And like you have to pay the storage fee by yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then we have 2 questions for IAMM team, for Tanner. So how do first-class NFTs differ from other types of NFTs?
Yeah, so first-class NFTs, as opposed to what you would have like an NFT on Ethereum, are extremely different. And the reason is that when you're operating on NFTs through typical methods, you're basically having the same thing as a client server architecture, right? It's pretty much replicates that. It's if we take a database, if we take a typical 3-tier architecture, like database and server, basically NFTs are like this generic, a generic table in blockchain, in a new database that uses a blockchain instead, right? But most applications also have certain business logic in the server, not just in the database, right? So we treat that the same way, where typical NFTs, you don't know how to interact with them by default. That's why we have such restrictive, limited standards that are function APIs. What does that mean practically? It means that if you build a new type of NFT, other platforms or other crypto protocols don't know how to use that custom functionality by default, even if you're backwards compatible with another standard. I see that all the time, even incorrectly implemented ERC20 tokens, where for the most part they work, except when you're trying to do something unique and then tests start failing because the token only appeared to implement the ERC20 standard, but there was something wrong internally. So with this first class NFTs, you don't have any of those problems. And also you can do things to the NFT once you own it, even if those things weren't pre-implemented by the developer of the NFT, right? So that's not the case with other types of NFTs. You can only do what the developer predefined during smart contract development time, pre-deployment.
Okay, I don't know how many people understood, because Tanner's explanation is very technical. So I'll chime in here and give an example, right? So there is, I mean, for those of you guys are in the NFT space, I think you probably know this concept that of NFT royalty, right? A scheme where a lot of platforms want to give a cut to the artist once the art is sold, right? And every transaction will give a percentage of the revenue to the artist. Now, this is implemented on the platforms, but not in the smart contract level, right? So this is more on the platform level. So you have multiple platforms implementing this, but at the same time, they're implemented separately, or they're implementing this independently. In other words, if I'm an artist, I issue art on, let's say, Rarible.com, right? On Rarible, and maybe the platform agrees to give me a cut for every sale. But if the seller withdraw the NFT and then deposit it into OpenSea and then sell it there, I won't get a cut, right? So that's the fundamental problem, because the standard for NFT on Ethereum, for example, it's interface based, which means it can only look at the interface and see, oh, this is an NFT, I'm going to transfer it, I'm going to transfer from A to B, right? The other logic around it is the platform themselves have to implement it, but they can't coordinate horizontally well enough so that everybody will implement the same way. And even they do, I mean, somebody can come up and say, oh, okay, I'm not going to charge this royalty fee, and then they can steal the market. So it's a very difficult situation for Ethereum NFT marketplaces. Now, the thing that's different in CKB NFTs is with the sell model, the royalty scheme can be embedded in the NFT itself, right? So that for every sell, the sell can look at it around and look at the transaction that it's in and see, oh, okay, I'm being transferred from one address to another, from this to that. Is there a, is there also a royalty paid to the original artist whose information I also have? Right, so if there is, then I'm going to be transferred there. If it's not, then I don't want to be transferred, right? So it's possible to inform that restriction on CKB, because the cell itself has everything of NFT that comes with it. So anyway, so that's an example. Hopefully that can clarify this a little bit more. Okay, all right, next question for you, Tanner. How will IAMM deal with compatibility issues across NFT standards?
Actually, the interesting thing about IAMM is there shouldn't be those types of compatibility issues. The fact is that with IAMM NFTs, each NFT is self-describes all of its data and the semantics of that data, as well as the actions someone can take on it, and the rules or conditions that have to hold for that action. So a normal, you saw that in my presentation, there was a fractional, not fractional, but an NFT that has this concept of DNA, and you can pay $1,000 to get basically an offspring of that plant. Not $1,000, 1,000 CK bytes. That's purely done. All of that logic is enforced by the IAMM specific NFT script, but the properties and actions and that were specific to that token was defined in the cell's data in a nice compact way that can also be retranslated for human readability. So we can define a token for any standard that exists for compatibility, as well as new types of tokens that don't yet exist. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Tanner. Let's see. Do we have other questions? Yeah, I believe that's all the questions we have received. Okay, all right. So we actually 5 minutes passed, but this is great. Yeah. So just to summarize and just to end this town hall, I think in the future we're going to do more of these town halls. That's more coming from the community projects. We'll definitely have our core team to come present, our progress and roadmap and next steps we're working on, and so on and so forth. But as you guys see, as we have more of these projects building on top of Neuros, that we want to invite more of them coming to the town hall and talk about what they're building. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks everyone. And so if you haven't, please join our Telegram, Twitter, WeChat groups, and yeah, we'll keep talking to you guys there. Bye everyone.